All right, good morning. So I've just packed up and I'm ready to get moving. Just about 4 miles from the summit of Gray's Peak. So there's actually a couple of summits up here. I think it's going to be amazing when I get up there. It's beautiful, like clear skies right now. So I'm going to start hiking. And so I've already packed up, but this is where I camped. You can see there's a nice flat spot right here. So I just cowboy camped, which was kind of risky because it had been raining quite a bit during the day. The trail's right here. But because there were these trees, I was like, if it does rain, I could pitch the top. But the forecast was for it to be clear skies overnight. So as you can see, the sun is already up, which means I'm not going for a sunrise summit. I did think about doing that, getting up at 4 a.m. like I did for Mount Elbert and getting up there for sunrise. But I actually realized that in this case it would be a really bad idea because it definitely goes below freezing at night. I think it was below freezing even where I was camping, and it just rained at like 7:30 p.m. So all the rocks up there would be wet and you just end up with it freezing over and you get a layer of slick ice over all of the rocks. And my understanding of this summit is that it's actually like class 3 scrambling, which just means like you occasionally use your hands and it's just like a little bit of a scramble. And yeah, I shouldn't do that if it's icy, and I shouldn't do it if it's dark like last night and wet rocks. I think the conditions are going to be great by the time I get up there. Alright, so I've made it up onto this ridge. So down there is the valley that I came from. I was walking through that valley and I camped just as the tree line ends, like somewhere down there basically. And then this is the direction that I'm going. I'm going, I believe, along this ridge essentially. And over there, I'm pretty sure on the left you've got Gray's Peak and on the right you have Torreys. So I'm going to try and do Gray's and Torreys. Alright, so I'm now on the summit of Mount Edwards, and Mount Edwards is about 1.5 miles before I reach Gray's Peak and then Torreys. And this peak is 13,800 feet high, so almost a 14er, almost 14,000 feet. And yeah, nice peak up here. I'll show you the view. So I came from that way and now I'm up on this ridge, and I think this is where it starts to become more of a scrambly ridge walk type thing, maybe class 3 scrambling. Amazing views here. So to the right is Torreys and to the left is Gray's Peak here. And see, this ridge line is what I'm about to go along, which is going to be really fun. I'm glad I didn't do it when it was icy this morning or dark last night. These conditions are perfect. And that's the valley that I came up, just down there. So I'm on the top of Gray's Peak now, and the mountains over there, that's where I was yesterday. I don't know exactly where, but somewhere that direction for sure. And then I came down into some valley down there, and then up the valley here, I guess. It's a little bit difficult to point. And to here, and down there you can actually see where I camped. Basically in the trees like there. Basically the edge of the tree line. And I don't know how well you can see it, but I can very clearly see the trail actually going up, gradually up, climbs up the mountain, and then onto this ridge line. And that's the ridge line that I just came across. So I came along here and all the way up to here. And it actually took me a lot longer than I expected to get up here. It took about 3.5 hours to do about 4.5 miles. So I think at one point, especially when I was on that like knife edge ridge and it was all just rocky and kind of scrambling, I was probably only going at like 1 mile an hour. It wasn't like that dangerous or difficult. It's slow going. Like you can't really walk. Like you're sort of scrambling slowly. So it took a while. It took longer than I expected. But now it's time to go and summit Torreys. So Grays is actually on the official CDT, and this is the highest point on the CDT. But Torreys is like off the trail, but it's so close by. I'll show you. I'm looking at it right now. So that right there is Torreys. So I'm going to go and summit that now. And then I think after that, the trail takes me down into this valley over here. So I made it to the top of Torreys, and that is Gray's Peak right there, where I just came from. And I came up Gray's from this ridge over here, and down the trail, down that valley over the other side of Gray's. So now it's time to head all the way downhill. So that's the way I'm going down into this valley here. so I didn't actually end up filming anything else for this day, and so I'll just quickly fill you in on the details. I know I've done this quite a few times, but it was the usual reason. Basically, it started raining, so I put the camera away, and it didn't end up being too bad on this day, but basically I think the last thing that I filmed was when I was coming down off of Grays and Torreys. So I'd summited Grays Peak, having come from Mount Edwards and done like this knife edge ridge scramble, which was really cool, and Grays Peak was really cool, and then I went and summited Torreys, and that was amazing as well. Honestly, it was really cool up there. I really enjoyed it. And then I started hiking down, and as you saw in those clips, as I was hiking down, I saw a few mountain goats again, which was really cool. And yeah, hiked all the way down to the parking lot, and then, you know, it rained a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. And then from there, I kind of walked on a road down into the valley, and then back on trail. The trail was actually like a bike path for a bit, and then you reach another parking lot. And basically down in the valley, you end up crossing I-70, so like a major highway basically. And at that point, it was really raining quite a bit. And basically you go on a road which goes like an underpass under I-70. So on the underpass, like under the bridge, I just stopped there and just kind of like sat in the cold rain, well, out of the rain, just under this bridge, hearing all these massive trucks going by. But it was nice just to get out of the rain for a bit and just sit under this bridge under the highway. It's kind of funny. And, you know, really nothing was missed by not filming for the rest of this day. You know, the main highlight of this day was definitely getting up to Mount Edwards and then doing that ridge walk to Grays Peak and then summiting Torreys and then seeing the mountain goats. It was really cool up there. It was really beautiful. That was definitely the highlight of the day. And after that, you know, it was basically in the forest or even just kind of on a dirt road. And then after I crossed the highway, I got to this parking lot and I stopped there for a bit, and I just was trying to decide what to do, because basically it was looking pretty stormy. It rained a bit that day. It hadn't been too bad, but, you know, thunderstorms had rolled in after I had just descended from Grays and Torreys. So I had a good weather window for being up there, because immediately after it became stormy. And I just figured after the valley, I was doing a big climb, and I was going to be up in a really exposed area on a ridge line. And I just figured, you know what, like it would just make sense to camp before there. So kind of finished the day a bit earlier than I expected, but having looked at the maps, there was no way that it would have made any sense to go up on the ridge. I would have had to have hiked late into the night in order to find somewhere to camp. So yeah, that was pretty much it for this day. It was a really cool day. I really enjoyed being up on Grays and Torreys. And that was the last time that I'd be above 14,000 feet on this trip, so I really wanted to soak it in. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this day. So yeah, see you guys tomorrow.